And then there were two. So I'm waiting on, at this point, I'm waiting on the final pairing, and I, of course, hit the true end boss, Hall of Famer Reed Duke, who I'm a really big fan of. Super nice guy, really talented player. I know that Reed is on, I know that Reed is on shops. I don't exactly know what kind of shops. So I need to like play my game with, or keep my mulligans with the idea that my opponent is playing shops. I am a little scared because I made my shops we talked about it in the beginning of the stream, but I made my shops matchup weaker just because I didn't think there would be many players on shops. So there's no Hercules Recall on my main, which is a very big card in the matchup for game one. And like the sideboard's a little weaker than normal, and the main deck has some like not great cards like Remoras and Flusterstorms and stuff like that. So I'm like a little worried, but the idea in this matchup is if you're on the play, kill your opponent. So win the die roll, which we did, very lucky. And if you can't kill your opponent on turn one, you typically want to like Hercules Recall them at end of turn in sideboard games and then PO on your turn. I didn't think Reed would be on shops because Reed has typically played his DPS deck. But I think, you know, Reed's range is infinite, right? Pretty sure he like played Boggles at like a really important Worlds event or something. So you got to be ready for whatever's going to come out. This hand is good. This hand is very good. I have a non-wasteful land. I have a turn one Night's Whisper before Spheres come down. And I have a Monastery Mentor whose really only issue with Monastery Mentor is if opponent has a Ballista. And this hand is a prime example of why Night's Whisper is better than Preordain. I absolutely agree, not me. Absolutely agree. So this is good. This is good. We're pretty happy with this. Yeah. So let's get right into it. See what happens. Definitely play my. Oh, I fucked up here. I chose not to Whisper. And it's not a huge fuck up because my idea was I wanted to play my top. I wanted to play my top, not me, before I got sphered. And I think this just ends up being wrong. I think we were supposed to just Whisper. So like, my brain basically went like this. I want a Night's Whisper. Oh no, I played my island. I can't Night's Whisper. And then I just forget that I have a fucking jet. So... Yo, thanks, Rachel. Appreciate that. Yeah, so I fucked that up. Not good. And then I see these three cards, and I'm just like, nope, those cards are garbage. So if we had drawn those cards off of Night's Whisper, I would have been very sad. So it ends up working out a little bit, but I think it was probably wrong. So I definitely shuffle these away. These cards are not very good for us. And... I mean, I do kind of go over the lines like this when I'm live. If you've ever seen my stream, I talk through a lot of my thoughts. Probably not as detailed as this, but like still pretty detailed. In my opinion, I think that's like something that my stream is pretty good at. If I have to pat myself on the back at all. Yeah, and then I just draw Mana Crypt because I'm a gas. we went through a lot of that today, huh? There's been a lot of whitelisted draws. Yeah, then we just get to cast Night's Whisper anyways. GG easy. We actually draw like not great off this because we didn't draw a blue card for this Force of Will. So it's not great actually, but we have 4 mana on turn 1, which is a good start for shops for sure. All right, so then we get to so this is very weird. So this makes me think that that Reed doesn't know what we're on because he just jams a Crucible of Worlds, which is for like the Wasteland lock. But we started with a non-basic, so sorry, we started with a basic. So this is the best thing I've ever seen for us. I was like, this is great. There's no Revoker, there's no Sphere, there's no nothing. This is the best thing that could have possibly happened for my current hand. So I was thrilled. I activate the top in my upkeep. The reason I do this is because I can draw the top and play a mentor, and then I can play the mentor and then replay the top and get a mentor trigger. Which I think is like a pretty important thing for people to learn when you're playing PO. There's a lot of times where you're not comboing off where you have mentor, where you need to maximize mentor stacks. Obviously, drawing the blue card is great as well, because the blue card is forced, because like I didn't have to force this. Not that I could have forced it, but I didn't have to force it. I mean, I could have drawn a force that turn if I topped blind and drew a blue card, which is, it's a good thing to be able to do. Like if opponent played a Trinosphere, actually I probably wouldn't counter a Trinosphere. If opponent played something that was really problematic, I could have drawn the top and tried to drop blind, draw a blue card. But I didn't, so this is really good for us. We get to crack a fetch, get a Tundra, play a Monastery Mentor, play a top, and then I have force backup. I can't get Walking Ballisted. No, I wouldn't bring in Ensnaring Bridge versus PO. If they're like killing you with a Mentor, 9 times out of 10, it's because they've drawn their deck. Like this game where you just like have a Mentor and are playing like a tempo control game doesn't happen very often, I would say. Yes. So the reason he played Crucible is because he does have the Wasteland lock, but I just don't care. Like none of like this, I'm gonna beat a Wasteland lock. So he goes for a Karn. I think that's like a little sketch for me, so I just counter it. It does show that my opponent is not on like a very hardcore aggro Ravager deck, so it is on either a Prison Golos deck or like some kind of hybrid. It ends up being that he's on some kind of hybrid deck where he has Inspectors, but doesn't have, and like Respectors, Revokers, and Serpents, but not, I don't think Ravagers. I'm not sure though. So here we don't see great cards on top. We only see Moxen, which is fine though, because we get to do the same trick on our next turn where we I think my thing is frozen. Oh, he just conceded. Okay. Excuse me. So we get 2 triggers there. We get to upkeep, draw the Pearl, cast our Pearl, cast our top, and then spin again. And then we can even get 3 triggers. We can then draw the Vault. So it's good for us. So we get game 1, which is really good. We go to sideboarding. Let me just show the sideboarding for shops, because that's a new matchup for us. It's actually a lot of these cards. It's actually just like almost all of these cards, right? On the draw, I don't like Lavinia. I sometimes like Trap. It's basically something like this, where you're boarding in your removal. I don't think I boarded in Balance because I thought that they were on more of a controlling version. So I think I boarded in like Disenchant, Swords to Plowshares, Caracas as an extra land, also bounces Golos and Traxos, which is okay, and Blightsteel. And then I boarded out some of the bad cards like Flusterstorm, Remora, Lavinia, Gataxian Probe, Mental Misstep, those kind of cards. So let's go see. Let's go take a look. Let's go look. Let's go look. All right. So let's look at the sideboard real quick. So you can see that Lavinia, Probe, Narset, Trap, Misstep, Remora, Flusterstorm were taken out. Sometimes I keep in Trap on the draw. It's just kind of a feel thing. It can be really good and it can be really bad. Sometimes it's great though. If they go multiple Moxen into like a Karn or something, it feels really good. So the Notion Thief obviously didn't come in. All right, so here is me showing a lot of restraint. Here's my opener. Everyone ready? That's my opener. All right, chat. Let's do keep or mull. 0 for mull, 1 for keep. 0 for mole, 1 for keep. I do have a Blightsteel in my deck. Chat's kind of 50-50. I actually should put a poll up. I should put... Hold on. I didn't realize it would be that close. I didn't realize that you guys were that debated on this. Hold on. I'll put a poll up. I'm gonna put a poll up. I want to see what this looks like. Keep or mull? Keep, mull. All right, you got 1 minute. Sorry, I'm making you guys do it again. Let's see what happens. I put a keep or mull poll up. Let's find out. I'm interested to see. Now that you guys look so split, I kind of want to see. Did I just close it? No, I didn't close it. All right. Okay. Interesting. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So we're gonna end up with like double the number of people wanting to mull and keep, but still like a non-zero number of people want to keep. So my first instinct whenever I see this hand is I want to keep this shit. But you should not keep this on the draw versus shops. You should not keep this on the draw versus shops. You just should not do it. I can't pull up the chat, so I don't actually know if they kept their 7 or not. You should not keep this. If you have a land, keep this. If this Citadel is a land, keep it. But you cannot... I would keep this hand if the Disenchant or the Citadel or the Opal or the DT was a land. Anything that looks like a turn 1 Tinker that still has a land, I'm in. But the reason you can't keep this hand is the prevailing line of thought as the shops player in this matchup is mulligan to a sphere or a restricting effect. And I trust Reed to be a very powerful wizard. And so if they have a sphere here, it's really bad for us. We probably lose. If they have a revoker here, the likely name is Lotus, sometimes Opal, and it's really bad for us. So I had to restrain myself from the turn 1 Tinker hand because you just can't risk getting sphered. I have definitely kept this hand and lost anyways before, and I've kept this hand and won anyways before. But I think that as the shops player, basically all hands that don't have a sphere or a restricting effect is not a keep versus PO. You're really disadvantaged versus PO, and you really need to do your best to stop them from comboing. So they have so many: Lodestone, Karn, 4 spheres, Chalice, Thorn, Trinisphere. There's so many things. Even Revoker. So like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, this hand does beat Lodestone. And we also have the power of London Mulligan on our side. Oh yeah, you snap keep this on the play, you just win the game. But I'm on the draw. So I use the power of the London Mulligan and I mull to this hand, which is fine. I'm not thrilled, but I don't hate it. I believe I just get rid of Night's Whisper or Top. I don't know. One of those two. Yeah, I got rid of Night's Whisper. There's like really no reason to have a Night's Whisper when I'm already have a Demonic. So I keep this hand. Reed did keep their 7. And Reed did not disappoint me because Reed did in fact jam a Thorn of Amethyst on turn 1, and we would have been a very sad Justin. Also, Reed jammed all of those cards on turn 1. So Reed actually only has one more card in his hand. And this card is going to stop my Mystical for Tinker lines. It actually stops both Colossus from going into play, as well as a Citadel from casting off the top. So, opponent has a decent prison draw, but only one card in hand, so likely no clock. So I'm pretty happy right now. I'm just going to play my Underground Sea. It's vulnerable to Wasteland, which is a problem. And get my Sapphire in play. On opponent's turn, they play a Workshop and pass. I am thrilled. That means currently Reed has no clock. On my turn, I'm looking to just like play my Mana Vault. What do I draw? I drew a land. That's a change of plans. Now I have a bunch of mana. Opponent has no clock. I'm thinking I can DT. Well, what am I DTing for? Maybe a Mentor. It's not a bad idea, but I feel like we're pretty close to combo killing our opponent. Maybe we should pass and disenchant a Thorn of Amethyst. Or Cage, but I think the Thorn is like the more restrictive card. So let's see what I do. I think both options are actually fine. But I choose to just pass with Disenchant up. Reed draws a Ghost Quarter, which we just don't care about. And so we're just super happy that opponent has no clock. We're going to disenchant this Thorn at the end of turn to unlock our hand. We have like a lot of agency once this Thorn goes away. Reed tanks a little bit, decides to Ghost Quarter the white source. You could also Ghost Quarter the black source. It's like kind of close. But this stops Mentor, so I think this makes more sense. Obviously, we're playing our Esper PO, not our 4-color PO, and we've got tons of islands to get. And by tons, I mean 2, which is more than 1, so tons. Which is just so good for us, because after we hit this Thorn, I get the Mystical. And I can't Mystical for Tinker, because Tinker is going to get stopped by Cage. So I believe I just Mystical for Ancestral. And it's time, I think. Now we're just like in great shape to start looking to PO combo. Start off with an Ancestral. Where do we get to go from here? We found a land. We found a force. Yeah, I think it makes sense from his perspective, but it's just gonna be great for us. There's like very few ways he gets punished by that. It's like just Mystical and Ancestral, so like I think it's fine. I can't Mystical for PO because I just don't have enough gas. Well, I think I just like Ancestral more. If I go for PO, then I go Mana Vault. Yeah, it's just not good. It costs an extra mana. I did Canister. I got there. So I actually don't think I like whatever I chose to do here. No, definitely not playing around Mindbreak Trap here. Thank you. I appreciate that. So what did I choose to... I think I chose to hold up in Force of Will. Is that what I chose to do? No, I just chose to DT. Really? No, I chose to hold up. Yeah. I should be playing a top here, though. Do I not play a top? That's a misplay. Fuck. Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to just play a top here. I don't know why I chose not to. That's really dumb. There's no reason not to. I have... Well, the reason not to is if they Sphere and then have something after Sphere. But I feel like I would just counter a Sphere anyways. Did I not have any good DT lines? If I had DT'd for a PO, wasn't that better? Maybe I did play around Mindbreak Trap. That must be it, right? How many things did I play this turn? Ancestral, Mana Vault. Okay, so I played around Mindbreak Trap. Interesting. I never play around Mindbreak Trap. How am I so disciplined to play around Mindbreak Trap in the finals? That's not me. No, I think I played around Mindbreak Trap. I get to play around Mindbreak Trap and hold open force. I think that's what happened. I still think I would want to play this top into Mindbreak Trap, though. I think not playing the top is bad. But I don't hate not playing Demonic and holding open force. So I think opponent plays a Sphere, and I let it go because it doesn't matter. And opponent has no other cards, so we just Demonic for a Mentor and win. I do go down. The problem with this line is I do go down one turn. So if they draw like Karn and they have a Ballista in their Karn board, I lose. So I wonder if there's a better line than what we chose to do. I was still worried about Reed's follow-up card, but maybe I shouldn't have been. Maybe like the best line here was to force the Sphere, untap, and DT for PO. I think the line I took is fine, but I feel like it opens up to more losses. I don't know. It's just I can assume that the last card in their hand is a land. I think. Because obviously it wasn't the Sphere. So I can probably make the assumption that this card is a land. So I think I probably should have just forced. I mean, I don't think they have a Ballista in their deck. I guess we it could be Mindbreak Trap or a land, right. I can't tell you for a fact that I was playing around Mindbreak Trap. I think I was, but I was kind of pumped on adrenaline at this point. So I don't like I think this line is fine, but it does open me for one turn, where I don't think I needed to be open for one turn. Would they use it on the top? Maybe. I should definitely have played the top. I 100% agree that the top, not playing the top was wrong. I agree with that line. The weirdest part about the Sphere is it doesn't let me play a top and draw into a blue card. I kind of think that I made a mistake with this DT for Mentor line. Like, I think it's one of the better lines I can choose, but I don't feel like it's the best line. I kind of am going back now, and I think I would rather have forced this Sphere, because I think the last card in their hand is a land or a Mindbreak Trap, and then just gone for DT PO. Obviously, they can't even Mindbreak Trap the PO, so I think it doesn't matter. Yeah, this is bad. I think this line's bad. I think this line is bad. I think play top, force Sphere, untap, DTPO. Wait a second. This is tapped, right? DT, sorry, this Krakus doesn't exist. DT, no, I'm short on mana. I can't make that line. That's probably why we didn't do it. If I use my Mana Vault to force this Sphere, this Krakus I don't have information on. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. I can no longer DT PO. That's probably why we didn't DT for PO. Alright. Cool. This is still wrong. Still should play this. Okay, I'm a little bit happier now. Alright, so so this makes sense. Because this doesn't actually really matter too much. So could we have done another DT instead of DTing for Mentor on this turn? That's the question, right? What else could we have DT'd for? Not really. They have an active Cage and an active Sphere. We could DT for Hercule. That's not very good. I actually think maybe we took the correct line. After thinking about it for a little more, I don't hate it. All right, let's just finish out this game. Let's see what else happens. I get to go to my turn. I choose to not use this top because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, so I can hold open Hardcast Force. And if this costs 2 mana to replay, I do draw Night's Whisper, which I think is worth yeah, I think Night's Whisper is worth casting. Like, very high likelihood I'm going to draw a blue card off it. Even if I don't draw a blue card off it, I can spin my top to find a blue card for Force. All I need is 1 extra mana to cast a Force of Will on their turn, and the game is over from here. So they do draw like something. I think they draw like maybe a Serpent. What is this? Oh, they drew a Mystic Forge, which is a great top deck, even through Sphere. But obviously I have Force of Will, and then I win. And that is it. And then I was the champion, which was lit. And I was really happy. And I jumped up and down and screamed. And my neighbors yelled at me, and it was lit. And yeah, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. It was fun. I'm glad we did this. We learned a lot, actually. I played way worse than I thought I did. I thought I played pretty good, but I actually think I played pretty medium, and I just drew really well. So there was definitely some points in this where I played really well, right? Like the DT for Fluster with the Agua line. I felt like there was a couple like really strong plays, but then there was a couple like really dumb mistakes. But I mean, it's 8 rounds of Magic, and I'm medium plus magician, so it happens. Thanks everybody. Thanks, I appreciate that. King, I'm a boss. But yeah, that was dope. I actually really glad we did this review. Should be really good content to put on YouTube as well. It was sweet. I do think that Vintage PO is a low floor deck. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't lie, Rian. I do think that PO has a pretty low or a pretty high floor. Sorry, a pretty high floor deck where you can play it and not play it optimally, and it's pretty good still. But I do think there's a lot of nuance when you're trying to get your maximum out of the top end. I think that like you can really see with pilots like with like P9 and Bryant, like if you put in some reps, you're gonna get more out of your PO deck than you would when you didn't put in reps, obviously. But that's kind of all Magic decks. But I am really, really happy because I played the GP circuit for a while. I grinded PTQs in New England, and I just could not get a PT qualification doing that, which I kind of viewed as a failure. And I really, really was disappointed that I never got a PT qualification, during the old system. So this is like a really big deal. Obviously the Mox invite is even better. An 8-player invite only tournament in Seattle with a bunch of sickos. It's gonna be great. I'm super hyped, and I got to do it playing Vintage, which is even better because I just really enjoy it. And I got to do it with the deck that I've just been playing for like 2 years. Like, this is my thing. So assuming we ever get a Mox, that's an absolutely true statement. Yeah, we don't talk about that. I don't recommend, before someone plays this deck, which is too late. I already know that Yuta played it last night on stream. Don't play this deck. Don't play this deck in a challenge. This is not how you should build PO for an open metagame. This deck is very, very specifically for the 20 other players that were in my tournament. I was really, really happy with myself on how I predicted the tournament metagame and built a PO deck to beat the metagame. And I think it really showed in the VODs. Like, we saw Camball and Mindbreak Trap and Remora just doing like triple overtime, Disenchant, Caracas, like Hydroblast. Just, I think every card choice besides Notion Thief was fantastic. I'm really, really, like, I don't pat myself on the back too much, but this time, like, deck building wise, I think this was fucking dope. And so I don't recommend you play this deck in an open field tournament. I would recommend you play something more like my qualifying list, with Repeal, and maybe Karn. Like, this is, I wouldn't play this exact list. Like, I probably don't want a Lavinia number 2. I think you probably don't want Preordains. You want like Night's Whispers, but you want to get like the Hercles in the main, the Repeals. You want to just be better against the field. and that's not what the idea behind this deck is. This deck is, I'm going to be better against fucking blue decks and combo decks and just beat those decks. And if I have to play against Hogak and Shops, well, hopefully my PO is good enough. And Mentor and PO were obviously very good. So we got there. We got there. All right, I think that is all for me today. I appreciate everyone who stuck around and everyone who has been here from the beginning. My name is Justin. I'm actually level 1, and I stream mostly Vintage, but maybe now we have to stream some Magic Arena so that I can play in the PT on Arena. I have to make my account and start grinding so that I have some cards, because I don't believe I'm gonna get a God account for that tournament. So yeah, that'll be fun. But mostly we stream Vintage on Saturdays and sometimes during the week. All the Vintage players are like, please no Arena, no. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Best thing you can do is follow the stream, subscribe on YouTube. Both of those things are free and help me grow the channel, get it out to more people. I really appreciate all of that. Thank you for Travis for subbing. I never, subbing is never required. I do this for fun, but I always appreciate any kind of support I get. So I appreciate everybody. Let's look for a good place to send everyone. Is there anyone online that... Oh, there's Anzi. What is Anzi playing? A challenge? Legacy challenge? You guys might like a legacy challenge. Yeah. I gotta give back a little. So I'm gonna send you guys over to Anurag. Great Eternal content streamer. Currently playing probably the Legacy Challenge, I would assume. And go say hi for me and continue to have a great weekend. And I hope everyone shows up for another Vintage stream sometime. I appreciate it. Thank you to Gab for the raid and anyone who stuck around from that raid. That's totally awesome. Peace.